All right. The next question is about in the same standard, Sharia standard number 9 on Ijarah and Ijarah Muntahia bittamleek. What does the standard mean regarding accelerating payment? So accelerating payment in general means that we will, if someone defaults, I couldn't have time to go through the particular clause. We would really appreciate if you mention the number of the clause so that we can, refer back easily. But in general, accelerating payment denotes that, let's say there is a payment plan, installment payment plan, or a deferred payment plan, and the payment will come across number of months or in a delayed matter, in a deferred matter. However, there has been a default, or there has been some issue because of which the right to pay in a deferred manner needs to be taken back. See, when we conduct a sale agreement, when we conduct a service agreement, the seller has the right to receive the payment, and the buyer has the right to receive the asset or commodity or the mal. In Ijara, the seller has the tenant or the lessor has the right to get the ujra, the service fee. Either we call lessor or we call service provider. And on the other hand, the service recipient or a lessee, he has the right to receive the utility, the benefit. In this case, let's say education, healthcare services, etc. So what happens in a deferred payment arrangement? The seller or the lessor or the service provider, they waive their right to receive the payment until an agreed point. So what happens when there is a default of payment? They take back the waiver that they have given. So now what it means is that the payment needs to be accelerated. The payment needs to be made on a instant basis or as soon as possible basis, without the deferment that was given originally or during the contract. So I think in general, that's what accelerating payment means. Anyway, there has been another question about the clause 8. So let's go to clause 8 and 8.1 in the same standard of Ijarah. I think this is here. Yeah, exactly. So the question says transfer of the ownership in the leased property in Ijarah. Okay, this one. And he quotes the standard, the clause. In Ijarah Muntahia bittamleek, but the method of transferring the title in the leased asset to the lessee must be evidenced in a document separate from the Ijarah contract using one of the following methods. Right? Is it? Yeah, okay. By means of a promise of sale, or by accelerating payment, he actually quoted this one. I think he mentioned here, token or other consideration. Where is this? By means of a promise to sell for a token or other consideration, or by accelerating the payment of the remaining amount of rental. Okay, so we have accelerating here. The surah or the scenario that I was mentioning was in the case of default. In this case, it's not a default. However, we can still accelerate the payment to consider this as a consideration of the sale. Okay, how it will happen? So what is the clause is saying is that in a Ijarah Muntahia bittamleek. So what happens in a Ijarah Muntahia bittamleek? So for example, the financial institution has rented out a particular asset to the client. Okay, let's say it's a house. It's a house financing through Ijarah Muntahia bittamleek. Ijarah Muntahia bittamleek means that it's a lease contract which ends with transfer of ownership, meaning that at the end of the day, the lessee will own the property. Okay, so in this case, let's say the client got a financing from the financial institution, and the term is that at the end of the term or at the end of the maturity, he will own the property. So what it's saying in this clause is that at the end of the day, when the transfer of the title needs to be there, so this needs to be evidenced in a document separate from the Ijarah contract, because the Ijarah contract is only about the lease. only about the lease of the property, only about the lease of the asset. When we are saying that the property will be transferred, the ownership will be transferred to the client, it should be based on a separate contract. Now, what would that be contract? What would that contract be? So it could be, first of all, it could be a promise. I mean, when the initial phase, there could be a wa'ad, there could be a promise to sell, meaning that the financial institution is saying that, we promise that we will sell the property for a token. So they can say for $10, $100, something like that, or other consideration, or any other such payment, or by accelerating the payment of the remaining amount of rental. So let's say it was a financing for 5 years, and after 4 years, the client expressed that I just want to take the ownership now. So what they can say in the wa'ad, that maybe, if you pay the remaining rentals, all the amount that accumulate as a remaining rental, so that would be considered as a consideration, as a price for the property, and based on that, the sale happens. So this is what accelerating the remaining payment is meant by in this particular clause. Or there could be another way of defining the price, is that the wa'ad would say that we will sell, we make wa'ad, we make promise to sell this property to you as a client at a price, or at a market value at the time when we are going to sign this agreement. So that is also a valid way to conduct this. So what will happen at that particular period, based on the wa'ad that has been signed previously? Remember, this is not an agreement, this is a wa'ad, this is a promise. So based on the promise, at the later point of time, when the specific time period comes, there will be either a price based on that token price, or any other price, or accelerating the remaining amount of rentals. And let's say the example that I gave for the last one remaining year, or the market value. In the case of market value, they also have to have some agreement, and there will be a sale and purchase agreement. There will be a sale and purchase agreement where the asset is the property itself, and the price is whatever mentioned in this wa'ad. So I hope this is clarified.
This session was brought to you by TAIF and Adl. If you have benefited from it, please share in your social media platforms about both the entities and share the word. Spread the word. Jazakumullah khairan.